So yesterday, boys and girls, we had a kind of a happy story. He was lonely and sad about his mother dying, and now he has a beautiful wife and he loves her. And so they're living together, but they also, remember, God's promise is coming through Isaac. God gave Abraham so many blessings. I will bless you. I will make you a blessing. I'm going to give you your descendants, all this land. I'm going to make it you a great nation. I'm going to bless those who bless you. I'm going to curse those who curse you. And in you, all the families of the earth will be blessed. But also, Rebekah had no children. So a year went by, and then 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. She had no children. And the Bible tells us that Isaac prayed to the Lord and said, please, Lord, would you give Rebekah a child? And the Lord listened, even though they kept praying for a long, long time. It was 20 years later that Rebekah had a baby in her tummy. And as that baby, you probably know that as when the baby grows in the tummy, when it gets a bit bigger, it starts to kick a little bit and it starts to move around so the mommy can actually feel the baby moving in the tummy. Sometimes it gives her a little bit of a kick. But Rebekah, she thought, I wonder if anybody has felt this much. It seemed like it was just jumping all over the place. And she thought, what's happening? Why is this happening to me? So she asked the Lord, Lord, what does this mean? And God said to her, there are 2 nations in your womb. Womb is a word for saying their tummy. 2 nations, and they are going to be kind of challenging each other. And the older, one is going to be stronger than the other, and the older one will serve the younger one. So he was saying, in a sense, I'm going to get my promised line is going to come through the younger one. Well, when the time came for Rebekah to have the babies, guess what? It was twins. There were 2, just like the Lord had said. There were twins coming from her. And the first one that came out of the mummy was all red and hairy, very hairy, all over the place. And so they called his name Esau. Esau means hairy. And then the next one came out, but the next one was all smooth, but his hand was holding on to the heel of his brother. He had his hand on the heel. And so they called his name Jacob. Jacob kind of means supplanter. It means somebody who kind of takes something. And those 2 little boys, so now Isaac and Rebekah had 2 little boys. But they were so different from each other. They looked different. Esau was red and he had a really hairy skin. Jacob, his skin was smooth. He was not red. Well, as they grew up, they also learned to like different things. What Esau loved to do is he liked to take his bow and arrow and go into the field and to the forest, and he liked to shoot game, shoot like deers and things like that. And when he got one of those, he would kill it and he would learn how to fry it up really, really good. And Jacob liked to kind of be around the tents. He liked to help out with his mother and do things in there. And this is a sad thing, boys and girls. But because I love all my children the same, and I'm sure your mom and dad do too, but not Isaac and Rebekah. Isaac loved them both, but he loved Esau the most because he loved that food that Esau gave him. And Rebekah loved both of her children too, but she loved Jacob the most. Well, one day, before I tell this part of the story, because it is very sad, boys and girls, if you had a beautiful, let's say huge Lego set or a huge dollhouse or just something just really great, and I said to you, I'll give you a candy if you give me your big Lego set, you'd say, of course not. That's ridiculous. I would not trade my great, beautiful playhouse for a candy. Well, listen to what happens. In those days, boys and girls, it was the oldest son. So the one that came out first was Esau. He was the oldest. And in those days, he would be the firstborn. That means when the father died, he would be the one that would get a double portion of all the money and the animals. He would get way more because he was the oldest. That is called the birthright. Can you say that word? Birthright. So Esau had the birthright because he was the oldest. Well, one day, Jacob was making a stew. It was a lentil stew with red lentils. It kind of turned out red, and he was making this stew, and he had some bread there. He was in one of the tents, and Esau was out hunting. And Esau was just exhausted. He came in from the field, and he came into that tent, and he said, "Give me some of that stew. I'm exhausted. I'm so hungry." And then Jacob said, "Well, promise me, swear to me that you'll give me your birthright." And this is what Esau said. He said, "I'm about to die. What good does a birthright do to me? Oh, okay, I'll give you my birthright." And Jacob said, swear that you'll give it." And Esau said, "Okay, I swear that I'll give it to you." "Well, then here's your soup," said Jacob. "Here's your soup, and here's stew, and here's your bread." And that's the way that Esau despised his birthright. He did not have it as a great value. And that is the end of that story. But before I finish it, I wanted to show you something. Just to review for 1 second. Let's see, where is my little, okay, here we go. So, Abraham, remember, got married to Sarah, and Sarah and Abraham had Isaac, and Isaac married Rebekah, and now they have 2 children, Esau and Jacob.